Good afternoon, this is my charging stop. I've got my coffee, I've got my sandwiches cut into triangles. I'm already wearing my beige trousers. What else did Lee say I have to do? Oh yeah, take a book for when you're charging. So we've got this one. This is the falsification of history. And funnily enough, because I am driving a Tesla, there is a section about Tesla. Let me find it. This is by John Hamer, and it is a fantastic book, actually. Essentially, he runs through everything. So in part one, we're talking about evolution and the real origins of the human race. We talk a little bit about Atlantis, the ancient bloodlines, Freemasonry, and the Great Library of Alexandria, with a touch on false flag operations. Part two, we go from the Dark Ages up towards all sorts of things like the gunpowder plot, World War I, World War II. Part three, we're into the world of today, subheading Our Distorted Reality, Useful Idiots, Corporations, Bohemian Grove, USA Incorporated, the elite controlled mainstream media, the illusion of democracy, HARP, weather and geological manipulation, check, HARP, mind control, Fukushima, chemtrails, our toxic skies, check. But the bit I want to talk to you about is right at the back here, to do with suppressed technologies. So if we go to page 616, we can talk about a man who you may have heard of called Nikola Tesla. And I find it ironic that the Serbian inventor Nikola Tesla, who allegedly came up with free electricity, his name is now used by the man that wants to charge you for electricity to drive your car and implant a chip within your brain. So stay with me for this one. Wireless electricity. The Serbian inventor Nikola Tesla, whose contribution to subsequently suppressed technologies cannot be underestimated, was the undisputed father of many of the inventions that defined the modern electronic era and was the first person to demonstrate this principle in 1890. Tesla based his wireless electricity idea on a concept known as electromagnetic induction, which was discovered by Michael Faraday in 1831 and purports that electric current flowing through one wire can induce current to flow in another wire nearby. To illustrate that principle, Tesla built two huge world power towers that would broadcast current into the air to be received remotely by electrical devices around the globe. Few believed it could work, and to be fair to the doubters, it did not work that well. When Tesla first switched on his 200 foot tall 1 million volt Colorado Springs tower, 130 foot long bolts of electricity shot out of it, sparks played around the toes of passers-by, and the grass around the laboratory glowed blue. Despite this initial failure, there is little doubt that Tesla eventually succeeded in his quest to produce wireless electricity, but it has remained commercially unused and dormant for more than 100 years, largely due to the energy cartel's suppression of the technology to protect their own profit systems. However, after a gap of greater than a century, several companies are now coming to market with technologies that can safely transmit power through the air, a breakthrough that portends the literal untethering of our abundant electronic devices. Until this development, the phrase mobile electronics has been somewhat of a deception. How portable is your laptop if it has to feed every 4 hours? Or your milk float? Like an embryo through a cord. How mobile is your phone if it shuts down after too long away from a power source? The technology about to arrive upon the electronics market, this is an old book, is an inductive device much like the one Tesla designed, but much smaller. It looks like a mouse pad and can send power through the air over a distance of a few inches. A powered coil inside that pad creates a magnetic field, which, as Faraday predicted, induces current to flow through a small secondary coil that's built into any portable device, such as a flashlight, a phone, or a computer. The electrical current that then flows in the secondary coil charges the device's integral rechargeable battery. Radiant energy. Nikola Tesla's magnifying transmitter and T. Henry Moray's radiant energy device, Edwin Gray's EMA motor, and Paul Bauman's Testatica machine all run on radiant energy. This natural energy form can be gathered directly from the environment via static electricity or extracted from standard electricity by a method known as fractionation. Radiant energy can perform exactly the same functions as ordinary electricity at less than 1% of the cost. It does not behave exactly like electricity, however, which, to be fair, has contributed to the scientific community's misunderstanding of it. The Mesonetha community in Switzerland currently has 5 or 6 working models of fuel-less, self-running devices that tap this energy. Then we get into permanent magnets, mechanical heaters, super efficient electrolysis, the water-powered car. We should probably do that one, shouldn't we? Water can be broken down into its constituent parts of hydrogen and oxygen using electricity. Mainstream science, however, claims that this process requires more energy than can be recovered when the gases are recombined. This is true only in the worst case scenario. When water is bombarded with its own molecular resonant frequency, using a system developed by Stan Meyers, also by others, it collapses into hydrogen and oxygen gas with very little electrical input. Also, using different electrolytes, additives that make the water conduct electricity better, changes the efficiency of the process dramatically. It is also known that certain geometric structures and surface textures are more effective than others. The implication of this is that unlimited amounts of hydrogen fuel can be made to drive engines, for example in cars, for simply the cost of water. Even more amazing is the fact that a special metal alloy was patented by Friedman in 1957 that spontaneously breaks water into hydrogen and oxygen with no outside electrical input and without causing any chemical damages in the metal itself. This in effect means that this special metal alloy can make hydrogen from water free of cost forever. Stan Meyers, the American inventor of a working patented vehicle that ran only on normal household water, was allegedly murdered by poisoning in the late 1990s after successfully demonstrating his prototype, which was capable of 100 miles an hour. He had been the subject of harassment and threats by elite big oil interests, and his death was perhaps the not too surprising culmination of his refusal to cease the project. So, what is happening today regarding Meyers' great invention? Absolutely nothing. The patent still exists and is available to view on the internet, so therefore the technology, or at least the wherewithal to recreate the technology, still exists. So why is this invention not being manufactured today? Simply because it will solve all the world's energy problems instantly and almost literally overnight. Eliminate oil as an essential fuel as we know, and that is not how politics and commerce works. It's always money that rules, and common sense is not the determining factor. If you would like to see me read more of this book, and if you quite like the audio book style format, let me know, because I quite enjoy doing that, reading aloud. And there's plenty of other books that we could read. So I think that is where we're going to need a second channel, Geoff Tells Stories. So there we go. That is me simulating charging my car. I've only done it for 8 minutes and I'm bored. Are you bored? It's time to eat my sandwiches and have a coffee. That is car charging with Geoff. That is my first journey in a Tesla, and my phone hasn't been pinging with the man who said he was going to get an email every time I exceeded a certain speed. So hopefully it will stay that way. Thank you very much for watching. Lots more on this car and my time with it coming very soon.